have people scamming, selling dope, selling messages of death in order to buy a jacket for $5,000, $6,000 and take all the celebrities and we push that. I'm not pointing fingers because I was doing the same thing until God brought me down to a place where I can really serve him. Because if I'm sitting on any kind of high throne that he didn't give, then I'm not in full service to him. All of the things that got taken away from me, I'm so thankful for that because I get to serve God better.
Really, nigga?
Contrary to popular belief, your biggest strength can also be a glaring weakness. As a proud member and a man of the Black community, I love our resilience and ability to want to forgive and let others redeem themselves. Though I appreciate and love this about us, it also pisses me off that we let people take advantage of this, especially when it's one of our own. Let's be honest, Kanye is full of shit. I know it, y'all know it too. There's been way too many chances and way too much evidence to say otherwise. I intend to be brief, so I only bring up a few. Let's just start with slavery was a choice, right?
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
Now this in particular is on the softer side because the statement alone is quite ambiguous. In the context of what he was talking about, we knew what he was getting at, but I'll give him a pass and say he was talking about a choice of being mentally enslaved. Okay, but even if that was his explanation, it clearly negated the scores of slaves who jumped from the ships and drowned, who ran and were caught and killed by bounty hunters, those who led rebellious efforts only to be thwarted and overwhelmed and made example of by the government. Even with his explanation, it still wasn't a so-called choice. But let's just move along, right? He ran around wearing a red MAGA hat, stumping for 45, talking about striking down the 13th Amendment. You know, the 13th Amendment that abolished the choiced slavery.
There's a lot of things affecting our mental health that makes us do crazy things that puts us back into that trap door called the 13th Amendment. I did say abolish with the hat on because why would you keep something around that's a trap door? If you build in a floor, the Constitution is the base of our industry, right? Of our country, of our company. Would you build a trap door that if you mess up and you accidentally something happens, you fall and you end up next to the Unabomber? You got to remove all that trapdoor out of the relationship. The four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment, and I think the way the universe works, it's perfect. We don't have 13 floors, do we?
The amendment that so many people fought and died to get on the Constitution, right? Yeah, that one. As soon as he get called out for it, all of a sudden, it was about making it equivalent to the people that were in prison as well as the people that were free. Come on, dog. Who you fooling? If that's the case, you can just lobby and try to get another amendment added to the Constitution, which would include prisoners as well. You don't have to strike down or take out the 13th Amendment for that. Kanye was deliberately trying to gain the approval of a racist faction of this country. Remember, the fact that he was going to run for president. He knew that he was dead ass wrong for that. So what did he do? He decided to play on the heartstrings of the Black community. Literally. He started doing those jam sessions on Sundays because what better way to get in the good graces of the Black community than to use religion and music to get the job done. I saw right through that foolishness immediately. But once again, Black people being so forgiving and gullible just allowed it to happen and joined in happy as ever, calling him a genius and singing his praises. Literally. without holding him accountable at all for his bullshit. Then here comes the White Lives Matter shirt with his good friend Candace Owens. Now, me personally, I'm not bothered in the least by it, because I know exactly the game that's being played, and we all know how Candace Owens slides and sides with anti-black commentary quite often. Ignorantly and unfortunately, many black people in the community, as well as some others, were all of a sudden appalled and bothered by the shirt. I'm like, nah, this y'all super genius that you adore so much. Ain't y'all happy about Soul Sundays or whatever the hell y'all decided to call it? The so-called genius followed up with the Drink Champs interview that was all over the place and decided that George Floyd died from fentanyl.
I watched the George Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his two roommates said was, they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. And the day when he died, he said a prayer for, 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. He said a prayer for 8 minutes. They hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary. But something that hit me, that fucked me up when I was watching the documentary, and it said, they want a tall guy like me. When I looked at that image of him, this tall black dude with the bald head, he reminded me of somebody else. Who do you think he reminded me of?
Virgil.
He reminded me of Virgil.
A bold-faced lie he adopted from racist propaganda and his awesome black friend, Candace Owens. The murder was filmed. The world saw it. The killer was found guilty, and this man still had the audacity to say that bullshit with a straight face. He says this to a group of black people that didn't even have the courage to check him on it right then and there. He also had the nerve to talk about Jewish people and some of the companies that have helped him build his wealth. Now everyone wants to cry because they cut his ass loose. Boy, I swear, some of us are so ignorant and delusional to the point that it's sadly embarrassing. If you have a cookie company that's making money and you run into someone that introduces sprinkles to your cookies and it increases your business value, of course, you'll want to compensate that person about their sprinkles, right? But if that person got beside themselves and started degrading your culture and saying you can't do anything about it, of course you would have that person stripped from your business and everything else to do with you. This ain't even half of it. The man is in a perpetual cycle of throwing any and everyone under the bus whenever it's convenient for him and his purpose alone. Of course, he'll have plenty of people say that, oh, he really looked out for me and helped me out with my situation. But if someone black were to tell you that same thing about Jerry Jones, since the photo has been circulating from 65 years ago, the black community would directly call that person a coon. You see, it's crazy how we operate with each other, right? You always hear, keep that same energy, but that same energy is never kept. People will praise Kanye and swear that he's a genius with a master plan after losing possibly millions, but demeaning and stunning Stephen A. Smith for telling brothers to show up and earn their money. I know a lot of y'all won't even get it or understand it, and that's because of the ignorance that's being fed to us on a regular basis. Always remember, just because you're being radical towards a majority opinion doesn't make you a free thinker automatically. Sometimes it just makes you an ignorant jackass. Deuces.
We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice. And brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real.